Hi, this is Majinoni, and with the recent movie coming out and comic book series, I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, especially since a lot of these characters haven't been seen for a long time, and if you're a moviegoer, you're going to have no concept of what's going on here. Now, I'm going to give like a high-level overview of the characters because there's a lot of history behind some of these, and none of this history is covered under the movies, and some of these characters are not really as well known to newer comic fans. Um, but if there's interest, I can go back and do side videos for earlier versions of the team and side stories, especially with that relate to the new version of the Guardians, because there's a lot of really cool things that happened in the early 2000s. Now, so let's just talk about the five main characters for today. What we have is Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax the Destroyer, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot. Now, Star-Lord, his human name is Peter Quill. He made a few appearances throughout the Marvel Universe before he joined the team of the Guardians, and he's basically the leader. He was born with an alien father and a human mother under a phenomenon where a lot of the stars and the moons and things like that all aligned a certain way. Now, because he didn't resemble the father kills the mother thinking that she cheated on him, and while he was about to kill his son, he dies of a heart attack. So young Peter Quill grows up in an orphanage and later becomes a NASA training astronaut. While he's assigned on a space station, an alien called the Master of the Sun arrives, and he's looking for a worthy candidate to hold the mantle of Star-Lord. Peter volunteers, but the alien goes, "Nah, I like that your colleague over there." Well, through some trickery and rage, and Peter does some unsavory things and basically replaces his his colleague, and he becomes Star-Lord. After he becomes Star-Lord, he does some journeys with, or adventures with, the Master of the Sun, dealing with Galactus, the Heralds of Galactus, and he goes off on his merry way from there. Now, Peter, he really means well, but he has this attitude of, I'll do whatever it takes to succeed the mission, which really is important in terms of an intergalactic storyline, because you really can't have your traditional superhero values of, I'm not going to kill. That supervillain could be rehabilitated. We need to arrest him. Because in space, the Guardians were dealing with intergalactic genocide, and they could not hold back. So he's willing to do anything, including using Mantis, who was a character who had mental powers, to control the minds of his teammate, to basically suggest that they stay together as a team. That didn't go over very well, though. But they still stood together to face the common enemy. Now, the next character is Gamora, and Gamora was known as the most dangerous woman in the universe. She was originally the last of her species, the Zen Hubari. Now, originally, this is where things kind of get tricky, because there's one timeline where she was killed off by the Badoon, and the other timeline which her family, or all of her bloodline, was killed by the Universal Church of Truth. Now, for the more modern times, we're going to be focusing more on the Universal Church of Truth. Thanos finds her as a young child and decides to basically use her as a weapon. And he raises her and trains her to kill this being called the Magnus. And the Magnus is an evil alternate version of another character named Adam Warlock, who becomes very important in the comics later, especially in regards to the Infinity Gauntlet. Now, while she was growing up, she basically is attacked by a group of thugs and is overpowered and basically raped and brought to near death. Thanos finds her, kills the thugs, restores her to health, and this is where he basically cybernetically enhances her to superhuman levels. and she becomes a killing machine. She later joins Warlock to fight the Universal Church of the Truth and the Magnus. Now, after defeating the Magnus, she learns that Thanos is actually a much greater threat to destroy all life on Earth in the universe, because Thanos basically wants to impress death, and the only way to do that is to kill everything. She joins another character named Captain Marvel, Drax the Destroyer, Avengers, Pip the Troll, and a bunch of other characters, and they attempt to kill Thanos. He eventually mortally wounds her, and she's absorbed into Adam Warlock's soul gem. Now, from there, she's later reincarnated, and she is who we see her now. Now, the next character is Drax the Destroyer. Now, Drax is a character that has, I guess you can say, a colorful background, and there's some tragedy mixed in there as well. Now, Drax was originally a man by the name of Arthur Douglas, and he's killed by Thanos because Thanos thinks that he saw him when he first arrived on Earth. Now, Arthur's daughter survives the attack and is raised by Thanos' father, Mentor of Titan, and she later becomes another character by the name of Moondragon. Now, Mentor realizes that he needs a champion to go after Thanos, so what he does is he places Douglas' spirit into a body, and he's reincarnated as Drax the Destroyer. Now, originally, when we first see Drax, he looks very like cartoony in the sense that he's got a cape, he's got gauntlets, he's got a costume, and he's shooting energy blasts from his gauntlets, and he joins the superheroes, kind of like, I guess you can say, sometimes he looks like he's a bad guy, sometimes he's a good guy, but ultimately their main goal is to destroy Thanos. Well, throughout their adventures, he eventually has to face off against his daughter, Moondragon, and she basically kills him and destroys his mind. Now, he's later reborn, and he's got a much more physical body, so he looks kind of like a green, well, I guess like a Hulk, but, you know, he's still green, because that's Drax's normal color. But anyways, his mind is still damaged, though, and when during this phase, he's given the power gem by Adam Warlock to basically safeguard, and you know, he goes on his crazy adventures, and he's not seen for a long time. Now, eventually he's seen again, but this time, in more recent times, he's much more in control. He's smart. He's very, like, muscular, very slim. He lost a lot of his mass, and this is when we see him during the Annihilation series. Now, Drax's main purpose in life is to kill Thanos, and he basically is a killing machine. He loses the cape, he loses the gauntlets, he's got knives and swords and weapons like that, and he is in my opinion, a lot better character than what he used to be like. Now, the next one is one of my personal favorites, and his name is Rocket Raccoon. Now, to me, Rocket Raccoon was added there to add a little lightheartedness to this, because when you look back at the original, like when they formed again, all of these stories were, like I said, intergalactic annihilation waves, and it was a very serious overtone. So Rocket Raccoon was more like, you know, here is this little tiny humanoid raccoon with blasters, spewing out wisecracks. So he provided a much needed element to lighten the story just a little bit. Now, originally he was from a sealed off area of the universe, and he was a captain of a starship called the Raccoon. Now, his original miniseries was more of a comedy in the sense that the entire cast were like humanoid animal characters, and he made a couple of appearances here and there, you know, mostly except for comedy, and we didn't see him for a very long time until finally he's recruited into the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, the last main character is Groot. Now, he's also known as Monarch of Planet X, and this is another character that they must have gone through their files looking for somebody to use that hadn't been seen in many, many years, and they found Groot. Groot's only made like maybe a couple of appearances, like in the Hulk and Spider-Man. And originally he came from this alien planet. He was like a monster, and he was looking for humans to capture and study. Now, that's the old Groot. The new Groot, he's kind of like, imagine, like still the walking tree, doesn't have much to say, and he basically joins the Guardians of the Galaxy to fight the alien invasions. He has some tree-like powers in that he can absorb wood as food. He has regeneration. He can grow to large sizes. He can command trees. But the odd thing is he's resistant to fire. You know, which you'd think that he's wood, so wood would be his weakness, but no, not in this case. He also has, the odd thing is he has like a uniform on too, so if you can imagine a tree with a uniform, it's kind of odd. But with the Groot and Rocket Raccoon, they have a very unique relationship in the way they interact with each other, and when you use these two in comparison to the rest of the team, you know, you have two assassins, Drax and Gamora. You have a leader, Star-Lord, who's kind of no-nonsense, and he is just basically focused on the mission. With the Groot and Rocket Raccoon, they lighten the mood, they make things, I guess you could say they distract you in a little bit, because they give you like a different view of what's going on. So I really enjoy both of those characters a lot. I do also like Drax and Gamora, because like I said, they are no nonsense, they kill, and they won't let things get in their way to do their mission. So it's a very interesting mix. Now, that's your basic team of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I'm going to be doing a follow-up video where we're going to be talking about Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet, and what you're going to find is a lot of these characters, like Drax and Gamora, I'm going to mention Adam Warlock, they all intersect multiple times, and everything basically came from the Thanos, his desire to destroy everything, to gain ultimate power, and then eventually him trying to gain the Infinity Gauntlet. And I think with the way the movies are going to go, if they do bring the Infinity Gauntlet into this, we're talking about epic battles, because that's, anytime you throw the Infinity Gauntlet into the series, you knew what you're in for. You're in for a major fight. Anyways, if you have any comments or questions, let me know. Rate the video up or down, let me know what you think. And if you want to know more about their other adventures, also let me know, because there really were a lot of amazing stories. And like I said, we're looking at an hour-long video just to talk about a couple of them, and this at the same time. So anyways, like the Facebook link. I give out free comic books every now and then. Also, I do reviews on Crunchyroll, and there's the link there for Crunchyroll. And until next time.